Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shea, and I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 224 of The Funnel, the key to sales management success. Before we begin, I want to remind you to head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel, or you can go to our sales library and download the Best Of series. This is the first installment of the Best Of series, 6-step sales hiring process. So we've compiled in an ebook all of the content related to the 6-step sales hiring process. So you don't have to go to our podcast page or our blog page and search for that information. So it takes you right through the entire sales process, sales hiring process. Good stuff. Just head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel and download it. Okay, today's agenda: learn from experiences, learn from others, look in the mirror, constructive criticism and feedback. So I was thinking about what it takes to be a good sales manager, and there's some really good constructive stuff out there, right? There's all the things you need to be a good leader, all of the things you need to do to manage a team and appropriately manage a team, setting up processes and meeting cadence and applying a set of rules and standards and metrics. And there's all this really kind of interesting stuff, and it's all very important. But I really wanted to touch on what it takes to be a really good sales manager from inside, from the sales manager themselves. What do they need to do besides that sort of structural stuff and reading books and all of that good stuff? And so I went back and I kind of looked at how I got to where I was and some of the things that worked for me and didn't work for me, and where I stumbled and where I picked myself up, and came up with a few things that I think are extremely important to becoming a successful sales manager. And first on this list is learn from experiences. I don't just mean management experiences. I mean sales experiences, life experiences, and using them in your everyday life. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, and now we're, a couple of 100 plus into the podcast, I use analogies and I use experiences from my life, some of them personal and some of them professional. I talk a lot about sort of how I manage my life or how I manage my kids in relation to sales. I shouldn't say manage my kids, but I think you get what I mean here. So I think learning from experiences and applying them to what you do, it takes a bit of work because we tend to compartmentalize our lives and separate the things that we do. Well, right now I'm helping to coach my daughter's lacrosse team. The head coach really kind of knows lacrosse inside and out, and I'm there as a support mechanism, but there's a lot of things in my sales world and management that I apply to working with this group of young girls, and it's been fun. So for me, I cross that barrier often. So I deconstruct the things in my life that have gone on and figured out, well, could I have done this better? What did I like or what did I didn't like or what don't I like, and how can I fix that? And how can I apply this experience to what I do in other areas of my life, in my professional and personal life? So a good sales manager learns from their experiences. I've often said to sales reps, look, you made a mistake. If you make a mistake and it happens, I'm fine with it. If it continues to happen, the same mistake, it's telling me you're not learning. And if you're not learning from these experiences, then I'm going to have a problem. I don't have a problem with mistakes. I have a problem from not learning from those mistakes and learning from those experiences. Now, I mentioned mistakes, but it's the same with experiences. When you have success, what can I take away from that? And I don't want to overemphasize the success because maybe there were some things that were just working in my favor. Maybe there's some things I did really well there. So learn from your experiences. The next is learn from others. And I can tell you that earlier in my life, I struggled with that. I struggled with learning from others because I felt like I had all the answers. And I felt like it was a sign of weakness to not learn from others. And as I aged and as I, like a fine wine, I I figured out that there are a lot of people out there that do some really good things. And I'm not above learning from them, picking their brain and figuring out how they do it. Sometimes it's former bosses. Now I'm going to say this before I go through all this. Learning from others in a positive way, learning from others in a negative way. So if there's something that somebody's doing that maybe as a rep that did to you and you didn't like it, then I wouldn't turn around and do it I'd think my way through that and learn from that and say, is that the best way to handle that situation? Because I didn't like it when it was done to me. I think a lot of times when we say learn from others, sales reps take their cue from their former bosses, positive and negative, and just do what their former bosses did because that's how it was done. They learn from them. I would say use the experiences piece I was talking about to learn about what's been done from others and decide whether you want to do that or you want to tweak it a little bit. So think about sports analogy, right? In football and the NFL, they have the West Coast offense. It's been around since the days of the 49ers winning multiple Super Bowls. Every coach that's come out of that and coached in the NFL, head coach, has tweaked it a little bit and made some adjustments. They've learned from their bosses, and then they've made some changes to try to improve it or maybe work with the talent they have on their team. And some have had a tremendous amount of success doing that. They've won Super Bowls themselves. So they've learned from others. And there's a ton of places you can learn. You mentor fellow colleagues, find out what works, find out what doesn't work, pick their brains. Pretty much in all walks of life, you can learn from people and how they do their jobs. You can learn from others. Walking in a retail place, your local church, sitting with, if that's your thing, going to church, listening to the pastor. You can learn from that. You can learn from our leaders. Some of it good. Political leaders. Some of it really bad. So I find that good managers learn from others. They learn from their own experiences and they take best practices from other people and they use them, maybe tweak them a little bit. They take maybe not so best practices from other folks and push them out the door. Next is look in the mirror. I think this is really, really important in everyday life. Consider the possibility that there might be some room for improvement in what you do. Not just as a sales manager, but in your personal life. Are you the best you can possibly be? None of us are perfect. We all have flaws. But we can spin the conversation to make ourselves sound great all the time. We're all guilty of that. So when I say look in the mirror, consider that. Consider the possibility for improvement. And when you make a mistake, it's okay to apologize. It's not a sign of weakness. Say, I'm sorry I did that. It wasn't appropriate. Or I just didn't, it backfired and I didn't think it would have a negative effect. And I see that it has now. And I apologize for that. And moving forward, it's not going to happen again. People appreciate that. Now, if it happens again, they're not going to appreciate that. Okay, so you have to kind of live up to looking in the mirror. Okay? Does it help my team? What I'm doing right now, does it help my team? That's the question. Not does it help you? You're a manager. Does it help the team? In the end, if it helps the team, it's helping you. If it's just to help you in a specific situation, that's short term. You're going to get burned in the end. So looking in the mirror and determining, can I improve as a manager? Can I be better at what I do? Can I help these people? What could I do better today? Or what could I have done better yesterday? I went through the entire day yesterday. I did this, this, and this. Upon reflection, I think I could improve here. And it's okay to reach out to mentors and friends and colleagues and get some feedback and advice on that. But taking stock in oneself is what drives good managers towards success. So think about all the things we've said so far. Using your experiences, life and business, to help frame your narrative as a manager. Looking in the mirror and taking accountability for yourself. Right? Accountability for maybe I can get better at what I do. and I could do better by my team. Not a bad thing. Learning from others. Taking bits and pieces from people that you've worked with and putting them to positive use. And taking all those negative things out. Next is constructive criticism and feedback. Okay, the world's full of critics. No matter what we do, we're going to get criticized. Just go on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Whatever you do, somebody has a negative comment. It's kind of sad in many ways, right? You can't do anything right. You put a YouTube video up and there's people making fun of the way you're dressed. I mean, it's silliness. Your hair, whatever it is, your voice. There are trolls out there that criticize everything you do. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about constructive criticism and feedback. So if you're sitting with your boss and they're giving you constructive criticism on the work that you're doing, taking it personally is a big fat waste of time. Really good managers understand good constructive criticism. They know where it's coming from and they know why they're receiving it. And there are people in my life that I respect, and when they give me that constructive criticism, I listen to them. It wasn't always the case. I was taking it personally. Who were they to tell me? Blah, 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 blah. Well, there's somebody who cares about you. People who care about you will give you constructive criticism. People who don't will stay quiet. Or just berate you or abuse you. It could be a boss. Could be a sales rep. Could be your kid. Sometimes they say things that hit right to the core. And you have no answer. Don't make an excuse. Accept the criticism and feedback and try to do better next time. We're all imperfect people. All men, women, we're all imperfect. So it's okay to take that feedback. Good managers, highly successful managers understand the difference between somebody beating you up and somebody providing you with good constructive criticism on how you can do something better. Fellow sales managers who are observing what you're doing. Keep that open dialogue with your team. Get feedback. You're not asking for their approval. You're asking for feedback. Now, be prepared that some of them aren't mature enough to give you quality feedback or constructive criticism. Coach asked how practice was the other day, and one of the kids said, boring. It's not really what we're looking for here. We ran a lot. There was a lot going on. So I'm trying to figure out what boring meant. The point is that that's not constructive. Well, we did this drill, and it took this much time. I'm thinking if we adjusted it this way, it'll be better. Constructive criticism from your sales rep. Well, you call me at the end of the deal, and you want to have this long conversation about the deal, and then you want to give me advice on how to close it. It's not helpful. What I need from you is to provide me with feedback as I'm progressing through the deal. So when I get to the end, we're not trying to fix some things that maybe happened in the beginning. We're actually addressing it as we go along. You have better context and insight into the deal, and you can provide better feedback to me at the close. Now that's constructive criticism and feedback. Now a good manager is going to say, you're right. I apologize for that. It's how my manager did it with me. And I was respecting your ability to manage through the deal, but I could see how that can have a negative impact on you. So moving forward, I'm going to attempt to get it right. And if I go back to doing it at the end, I need you to speak up and tell me. Because I probably will make some mistakes along the way, but I give you my commitment that I'm going to try to change that. I'm going to try to work with you from the beginning of your deals through the entire deal in a way that's constructive to you and can help you. I promise you, I'm not going to call you every day. Now that's great open dialogue between you and the sales rep. And good managers can do that. They're confident enough in themselves and their ability to have those conversations. And they're grown up and mature enough to make changes recommended by somebody who's under them in the food chain. That's a good manager. And there's nothing wrong with being a good manager. So I hope this podcast didn't mislead you on construct and emails and processes and stuff like that. I have plenty of podcasts on that and probably plenty more to come. But I really wanted to touch on what I thought was inside these folks and can help them succeed and has helped them succeed because it certainly helped me. You can find us at alignment-group.com/thefunnel. Of course, we're on social media, Facebook.com/alignment group. At Shay John R is my Twitter handle, and I'm on LinkedIn. You can email me, jshay@alignment-group.com. Of course, the website, alignmentgroup.com. Thank you for subscribing. And until next time, keep filling the funnel.